it is the end of an era. With Zach and Tori Roloff officially walking away from Little People, Big World, the show is facing its biggest crisis ever. The central family is gone. The succession story is over. For the first time in nearly 2 decades, the future of the show that started it all is in serious jeopardy. Fans are asking one question: is this the end? TLC has a plan, and it's the most unexpected, controversial, and potentially explosive plan imaginable. We have received information from a source deep inside the production company, a source who has been right before, detailing a series of secret, high-stakes negotiations that have been happening behind the scenes for weeks. TLC is not letting their flagship show die. They have gone back to the other son, the prodigal son. TLC has made a massive offer to bring Jeremy and Audrey Roloff back to Little People, Big World. But it's not just about a paycheck. Jeremy and Audrey have reportedly come back with a list of demands, one demand in particular that will not only save the show, but will completely reshape the Roloff family and the farm forever. Before we reveal the details of this secret offer and Jeremy's jaw-dropping counter demand, you know what to do. If you want to see this show survive, or if you're just here for the drama, smash that like button to let the YouTube algorithm know we are covering the biggest story in the LPBW universe right now. And if you are not subscribed, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications for LPBW update. You are not going to get this kind of inside information from anyone else. We are committed to bringing you the stories that happen when the cameras are turned off. Thank you for your support. Now, let's dive into the secret plan to save the show. To understand why TLC is so desperate, we need to grasp the severity of their crisis. Let's look at the facts. Zach and Tori, gone. This removes the main storyline, the grandchildren with dwarfism, and the most relatable young couple. Molly, gone. Hasn't been a main part of the show for years. Jacob, gone. Publicly opposes the show. Amy, still present, but her story is now focused on her life with Chris, which is a secondary plot. Matt and Karen, the only original storyline left, but it's a narrative that has become deeply unpopular with a large segment of the audience who blame them for the family's fracture. A show centered only on Matt and Karen building a house and Amy cooking is not a sustainable series. TLC knows this. Their billion-dollar franchise is on life support. They needed a miracle. They needed a storyline with history, conflict, and a future. They needed another Roloff son. Enter Jeremy and Audrey. Since leaving the show in 2018, they have built a massive personal brand. They have best-selling books, popular podcasts, and millions of social media followers. They are controversial, yes, but they are undeniably successful. They don't need TLC. And that gave them all the power at the negotiating table. The initial offer from TLC was astronomical. We're talking about a multi-year deal worth well into the 7 figures, positioning them as the new central couple of the show. It would have made them 2 of the highest paid stars in reality television. And Jeremy and Audrey said no. They turned it down. Why? Because it wasn't about the money. For them, it was about the legacy. It was about correcting the past. After turning down the initial offer, Jeremy sent a counterproposal back to TLC and, more importantly, to his father, Matt. This proposal contained a list of demands, things like getting a producer credit, having more creative control over their story's edit, and guaranteed promotion for their own businesses. But at the very top of that list was one non-negotiable, world-shaking demand that would change everything. That's right. Jeremy and Audrey allegedly told TLC and Matt that they would only return to the show under one condition, that Matt finally makes good on his word and sells them a significant controlling portion of Roloff Farms. Not the rental house, not a small plot of land. They want the heart of the farm, the barns, the pumpkin patch, the business itself. This is not just a request, it's a power play of epic proportions. Jeremy is using the show's potential cancellation as leverage to get the one thing he and his brother have always wanted. He's essentially telling his father, you can let your legacy die on television and the farm crumble, or you can give me the keys to the kingdom, save the show, and let me carry the Roloff name forward. Think of the genius of this move. It solves everyone's problems. For TLC, it's a dream storyline, the return of the prodigal son. It creates a brand new narrative arc, Jeremy and Audrey taking over the farm, their struggles, their vision versus Matt's. It provides years of new content. For Matt, he gets to win. He gets to sell the farm to family, which is what he always claimed he wanted. He gets to look like the magnanimous father. He gets a massive payday, and the show that made him famous continues. For Jeremy and Audrey, they get what they've always wanted, the farm, and they get to control their own story while doing it. This single demand reignites the entire franchise, but it also creates a fresh wave of unimaginable drama. What will Zach and Tori think? Their dream handed over to the brother who left? What about Amy? How will she feel seeing Audrey, not Tori, as the new matriarch of the farm she helped build? And the biggest question of all, did Matt say yes? We have the explosive details on Matt's reaction to this demand and the secret meeting that took place just last week at the farm. In part 1, we exposed the secret crisis at TLC following Zach and Tori's departure. We revealed the network's desperate plan to save Little People, Big World, by bringing back its original prodigal son, Jeremy Roloff, and his wife, Audrey. But their return came with a shocking, non-negotiable demand. Matt must agree to sell them a controlling interest in Roloff Farms. It's a power play that could either save the franchise or shatter the family permanently. We left off with the biggest question of all. What did Matt say? The answer will change everything you thought you knew about the future of this family. So, Jeremy and Audrey delivered their ultimatum. The farm for the show. All eyes turned to one man, Matt Roloff. For years, he has held all the cards. He has been the gatekeeper of the family's legacy. His ego and his business sense have been the two driving forces behind every major decision. What would he do when faced with the potential death of his television fame versus handing over control of his empire to his son? Our source inside the production company has given us stunning details about what happened next. They claim that Matt was initially furious. He saw Jeremy's demand as a hostage situation, feeling backed into a corner. His first instinct was to say no, just as he had said no to Zach. But this time was different. It wasn't just a son asking for his birthright. It was a multi-million-dollar television network. TLC gently persuading him. TLC executives held a private video conference with Matt and Corinne. They laid out the grim reality. Without a new, compelling storyline, the show's renewal was highly unlikely. The ride was over. For Matt Roloff, the man who loves projects, who loves building, who loves the platform the show has given him, the thought of it all just ending was a fate worse than selling. So a meeting was called. Last week, Jeremy and Audrey allegedly met with Matt and Corinne at the big house on the farm. TLC cameras were not present. This was a pre-production negotiation. It was a tense 4-hour meeting where everything was put on the table. Jeremy and Audrey reiterated their vision to honor the farm's past while modernizing it for the future. They talked about expanding pumpkin season, renovating the wedding venue, and creating new attractions. They presented a business plan. This wasn't just an emotional plea, it was a professional pitch. Matt, in turn, laid out his own terms. He would not sell the entire farm. He would retain a small parcel for his and Corinne's dream home, and he would maintain a consultant role for a period of 5 years with a salary. He wanted to be paid to watch his son run his old business. After hours of tense back and forth, they reached an agreement. Matt Roloff has agreed, in principle, to sell the operational majority of Roloff Farms to Jeremy and Audrey Roloff. The deal is contingent on the signing of a new multi-season contract with TLC. The prodigal son is coming home. This is the single biggest event in the show's history since Matt and Amy's divorce. The show is saved. The farm is staying in the family. On the surface, it's a happy ending. But this is the Roloff family, and a happy ending for one person is often the beginning of a nightmare for another. The ink on this agreement isn't even dry, and the fallout is already beginning. How did the rest of the family find out? Not from Matt. Zach and Tori learned about the deal through a lower-level production member who felt they had a right to know. They were completely blindsided. Imagine their pain. The very dream that was denied to them, the dream that led to their exit from the show and a fractured relationship with their father, was just handed to the brother who willingly walked away years ago. For Zach, this is the ultimate betrayal. It confirms his deepest fear, that his father's decisions were never about whether he was ready or if his offer was fair. It was about Matt getting exactly what he wanted, on his terms. Jeremy's celebrity and leverage gave him the power that Zach never had. This will undoubtedly sever any remaining thread of a relationship between Zach and his father. And what about Amy? Amy sold her half of the farm to Matt for a lower price, under the belief and hope that it would be kept for all her children. Now, it has been passed to one son, under a cloud of business negotiations and television contracts. Furthermore, she now has to face the reality of Audrey Roloff as the new matriarch of her former home. The dynamic between Amy and Audrey has always been strained and complex. Now, they will be forced to interact on a whole new level, with Audrey holding the power on the farm. This sets the stage for a cold war between the original matriarch and the new one, which will be rated gold for TLC. This decision has saved Little People, Big World, but it's done so at a tremendous cost. It has validated Zach's pain while simultaneously rewarding Jeremy's absence. It has drawn new battle lines in the family, pitting brother against brother and mother-in-law against daughter-in-law. The Roloff family civil war is not over. A new chapter has just begun. The show will go on, but the family we once knew is gone for good. So get ready for the new Little People, Big World, a show about legacy, betrayal, and a prodigal son's controversial return. It will be more dramatic, more divisive, and more compelling than ever before. Thank you for joining us for this exclusive report from LPBW Update. The documents are being drawn up as we speak, and you can be sure we will be here to cover every single development. Subscribe so you don't miss a thing. There is no one in the Little People, Big World universe who has captured our hearts more than Jackson Roloff. His infectious smile, his brave spirit, and his boundless energy have been the shining light of the show for years. He is the future, the grandson who made Matt and Amy grandparents, and the son who made Zach and Tori parents. Tonight, we have a deeply concerning and heartbreaking report. We are receiving reports from multiple channels, including a now deleted social media post, that Jackson Roloff has suffered a serious accident and was rushed into emergency surgery just hours ago at a hospital in Washington. This is not a planned procedure. This is a sudden, terrifying event that has thrown the Roloff family into a state of panic and fear. We are going to share everything we know so far. Before we get into the details of what we believe happened, I want to ask you to do something different today. This isn't just about algorithms. This is about showing support. Please take a moment to hit that like button and write "praying for Jackson" in the comments below. Let's flood their family with the positive energy and prayers they so desperately need right now. And if you want to stay updated on his condition, please subscribe to LPBW Update and ring the bell. We will be monitoring this situation around the clock and will bring you updates as soon as we get them. Thank you. Now, let's piece together what happened. To understand the severity of this situation, we have to remember Jackson's medical journey. It's a journey he is faced with incredible bravery. As many of you know, Jackson was born with achondroplasia, the same type of dwarfism as his father, Zach. This condition caused significant bowing in his legs, a common and painful issue. In late 2021, at just 4 years old, Jackson underwent a major invasive surgery to correct this bowing. Doctors placed plates and screws in his legs to help straighten them as he grew. The surgery was a success, but the recovery was long and arduous. We all watched as Tori and Zach carefully managed his pain and helped him through physical therapy. The constant fear for any parent in this situation is re-injury. The fear that one wrong move, one bad fall could compromise the delicate work the surgeons had done. It appears that this nightmare scenario has now come true. Our information comes from two places. First, a source who is a friend of a hospital employee in Washington State. Second, and more concretely, a social media post that was put up on a close friend of Tori's private Instagram story and was deleted within minutes. But we and several other fans were able to see it. The post was a simple picture of a hospital chapel. The text over it read, "Please pray for our sweet Jay. A bad fall playing. It's serious. They are so scared." A bad fall playing. It's the most ordinary and terrifying thing for a parent to hear. Jackson was playing soccer in his backyard, one of his favorite things to do. He reportedly took a hard fall, a twisting motion, and immediately started screaming in pain, unable to put weight on his leg. Zach and Tori, knowing his medical history, knew this was not a typical childhood tumble. They rushed him to the nearest emergency room. According to the information we've received, the initial x-rays showed a parent's worst nightmare. The fall had allegedly caused a fracture directly at the site of one of the surgical plates in his leg. Worse, the impact may have bent or dislodged the plate itself. This is what's known as a hardware complication, and it is a true medical emergency. A bent plate can't just be left alone. It can cause nerve damage, disrupt blood flow, and interfere with bone growth. This wasn't a situation where they could wait. The doctors reportedly told a devastated Zach and Tori that Jackson needed to go into surgery immediately to assess the damage and, if necessary, perform a revision, meaning remove the old hardware and replace it. Imagine the terror. One moment your son is laughing and playing in the yard. The next you are signing consent forms for an emergency operation, handing your child over to surgeons with no idea how severe the internal damage truly is. This is the reality the Roloffs are facing right now. The deleted posts, the source information, it all paints a terrifying picture of a normal afternoon turned into a crisis. As of the time of this recording, Jackson was reportedly taken into the operating room. Zach and Tori are in the waiting room, living every parent's worst fear. We shared the heartbreaking news that Jackson Roloff was rushed into emergency surgery following a serious fall in his backyard. The accident allegedly caused a fracture at the site of his previous leg straightening surgery, creating a dangerous hardware complication. We left off as a terrified Zach and Tori were in the hospital waiting room while their son was in the operating room. Now we have an update on the surgery and a look at the incredibly difficult road that lies ahead for Jackson and the entire Roloff family. While the Roloff family has, understandably, remained silent on their main social media channels, our sources have provided some initial information on the outcome of the surgery. The news is mixed. The good news, and we thank God for this, is that the surgery is reportedly over and Jackson is out and in recovery. The surgeons were able to successfully address the immediate danger. However, the damage was apparently as significant as feared. The fall did in fact bend the primary surgical plate in his leg and cause what is being called a periprosthetic fracture, a break in the bone right next to an implant. This is a complex injury. The surgical team had to perform a full revision. This means they removed the damaged plate and screws and replaced them with a new, stronger internal fixation device. This is in effect a complete do-over of his original major surgery. What does this mean for Jackson? It means the clock has been reset. He is essentially back at square one of his recovery journey, but this time it may be even harder. He is older now, more aware, and he will have to go through the entire painful rehabilitation process all over again. We're talking about weeks, if not months, in a cast, followed by a transition to a brace. And then countless hours of grueling physical therapy to regain strength and mobility. He will have to relearn to trust his body, to run and play without fear, which is a monumental psychological challenge for a child. This also puts his future medical care into a new light. Doctors will have to be even more cautious with his activities. The bone, having been operated on twice in the same location, will be a point of weakness for years to come. And we have to talk about the emotional toll on Zach and Tori. To watch your child go through a major surgery once is traumatic enough. To have to do it a second time under emergency conditions is a unique and exhausting kind of hell. All the old fears and anxieties come rushing back. The sleepless nights, the constant worry, carefully monitoring his pain, they have to relive it all. This will be a massive test of their strength as a couple and as a family. Their lives, once again, will revolve around hospital appointments, therapy sessions, and the careful work of healing their son, both physically and emotionally. And they will be doing this while also caring for Lila and Josiah, who have their own needs and their own potential health concerns related to achondroplasia. This is a burden that is almost impossible for most of us to imagine. As we conclude this update, it's important to shift our perspective from reporting the news to what really matters, the well-being of a little boy and his family. The coming months will be the most difficult period in Jackson's young life. He will need to summon a level of bravery and resilience that no child should have to. He will lean on the incredible love and support of his parents, Zach and Tori, and the entire Roloff family. And this is where we, the community that has watched him grow, come in. This is no longer a story about a TV show. It's not about family drama or who owns the farm. It is a real-life crisis for a family we have all come to care about. Whatever your opinions on the show, now is the time for compassion. Now is the time for support. We ask you again to keep Jackson in your thoughts and prayers. Send positive energy to Zach, Tori, Lila, and Josiah. In the coming days, if they choose to share their story publicly, let's make sure the comments they see are filled with love, encouragement, and strength, not speculation or negativity. Here at LPW Update, our hearts are with the Roloff family. We will continue to monitor the situation respectfully and will only provide further updates when it feels appropriate. For now, our only message is one of hope for a full and speedy recovery for the bravest kid we know. Get well soon, Jackson. We are all rooting for you.